This podcast is sponsored by the online course, Intro to Psychology, with Dr. Bo Bennett, PhD. Uncover the secrets of the human mind and transform your life at introtopsych.com. Start your journey today.
Understanding Psychopharmacology Treatment, a Psychology 101 perspective. Explore psychopharmacology treatment and its role in mental health, connecting psychological concepts from intro to psychology classes to real-world care. Let's talk about psychopharmacology treatment. You know how sometimes when people mention therapy or mental health treatment, the first thing their mind jumps to is medication? Well, that's where psychopharmacology treatment comes in. It's basically the study of how drugs affect the mind and behavior. Super important stuff when it comes to treating mental health issues. So imagine you've got a friend who's struggling with depression or anxiety. Maybe they've tried talking with a counselor, but sometimes therapy alone isn't enough. Psychopharmacology treatment involves using medications like antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds to help balance chemicals in the brain and improve symptoms. It's not a magic fix, of course, but when combined with therapy, it can really change the game. One of the coolest things about this field is how it connects with everything we learn in psychology education. In those intro to psychology classes, for example, you start to understand important psychological concepts like neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and how they influence mood, attention, and cognition. Psychopharmacology takes those theories and concepts and applies them in real life to help people feel better. Let's break it down for a sec. When you think of Psychology 101, you're probably thinking about basic theories and ideas like behaviorism, cognitive psychology, and biological psychology. Psychopharmacology is firmly rooted in biological psychology, because it's all about how the brain's biology affects behavior and thought, and how medications can alter that biology. Say someone has major depressive disorder, that's tied to imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin. A doctor might prescribe an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which basically increases serotonin levels in the brain to help regulate mood. The cool part is that this approach is informed by decades of psychological theories and research into how brain chemicals influence emotions. Another important point is the different classes of medications used in psychopharmacology treatment. Here's a quick list. Antidepressants for depression and sometimes anxiety disorders. Antipsychotics used primarily for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Mood stabilizers. Helpful for bipolar disorder, they regulate mood swings. Anxiolytics to reduce anxiety symptoms. Stimulants, often prescribed for ADHD to improve focus and attention. Of course, psychopharmacology treatment isn't just about writing a prescription and calling it a day. It requires careful monitoring because these meds can have side effects, interact with other drugs, and affect people differently. Ethical considerations, psychological assessments, and ongoing therapy are crucial. The goal is to find the right balance that helps an individual lead a fuller, healthier life. It's also interesting to consider how psychopharmacology treatment fits into bigger psychology topics like the biopsychosocial model. This model recognizes that mental health is shaped by biological factors, psychological processes, and social environments. So medication targets the biological aspect, but effective treatment usually includes psychological therapies and social support. If you're curious about how all these psychological concepts tie together, from brain chemistry to behavior to treatment methods, the Intro to Psychology course by Dr. Bo Bennett on the Verversity.com platform really lays a solid foundation. It covers essential psychology theories and topics, giving anyone a well-rounded understanding of what shapes human behavior, including how psychopharmacology fits in. Honestly, I recommend enrolling if you want to understand more about why people think and act the way they do, what drives mental health conditions, and how treatments, including meds, work behind the scenes. Psychopharmacology treatment may seem very medical at first, but it's deeply connected to everything we explore in everyday psychology education. So if you or someone you know is curious about psychology, the brain, or mental health, check it out. Enroll now to understand human behavior better and start seeing how these psychological theories come alive in real-world treatment. Thanks for hanging out with me for this quick chat about psychopharmacology treatment. It's a fascinating topic because it's where science meets compassion, using what we know about the brain to help people find relief and thrive.